Dilla started taking on more of the production roles. Dilla's a better maker than Q-Tip. But Q-Tip produced One Love by Nas off Illmatic.
Okay,
And
I do know that song, obviously.
Yeah, produced stuff off the infamous Give Up the Goods, Drink Away the Pain, which he's actually featured on. That's one of his best verses too. So Q-Tip's a hip hop guy. And he's one of those guys that's more part of our culture than people really realize. When you if you were to remove him from hip hop, you would be missing a lot of classic East Coast hip hop. Like, he's important.
Yeah, like
so
we've talked about this before in a previous episode, but I became familiar with him independent of Tribe when he did a verse on an REM song in like 2003, I think it was. He did the outro to a song called The Outsiders, and like, I didn't know that. I mean, I looked, obviously it says on the liner notes is, featuring Q-Tip or whatever, and but it's that same voice, and the song is really, really smooth too. It's not one of REM's best songs, but he takes it and makes it better, like in a way that they couldn't.
He's one of the few guys that can just make stuff work with his voice.
Yeah,
like hip hop wise, it's like, even if his rhyme and his lyrics aren't that dope, he still can come off dope because his voice is dope like that.
Yeah, yeah, and like we said, it's different. Like, it's different. Like, it's funny that we've talked about smooth and about whatever. Like, one of my actual notes before we even started was like, I don't know if like this music feels smoother, it feels friendlier, like it's more collegial. And we've talked about like the members of Wu-Tang Clan, for example, being friends with each other, but also it being like a really competitive kind of vibe, like they're trying to outdo each other, and you don't get that. I mean, maybe Phife and Q-Tip are, but I don't know. I don't get that vibe from Tribe songs, like they're trying to one up each other necessarily.
No, but what did go on is that, well, I mean, and Phife has an album out posthumously, unfortunately, rest in peace to Phife.
Yeah.
The album is really, really dope, actually.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel like it's better than their last album, which got released, shortly after he passed originally. But to that, I will say, never trying to one up each other, but creative wise, because Q-Tip was such a genius and was such ahead of the group in terms of behind the scenes production wise and front wise with the rhymes. Phife's greatness never really got to show itself subject matter and I think topic wise. So some of the rougher, edgier stuff, I think that you're talking about that they never really did, came from more of Q-Tip's scope. And I think if Phife would have had more of a say, it probably could have went more into that realm. And I think, and I don't want to, say this for certain, I think that did have something to do with the separation. It was just not even like having a problem with each other, but creatively, Phife may be wanting to express himself more than he could with the tone of who Tribe was. Because you also have, this is what I mean too. By the time they're making this record, they're already the feel-good kids,
Okay.
But if you really go look at the history of it, People's Instinctives, and my other co-host on According to Hip Hop, Mike Doffett, Mike often says this. Well, People's Instinctive is damn near a Q-Tip solo album. Phife only has 3 verses on their first album.
Oh wow!
So it's like literally almost all Q-Tip, and then they do Low End Theory, which is I'd say, and I can't recall it offhand, but it's probably 60% Q-Tip and 40% Phife. So even though Phife's on there like significantly more and more of a factor, it's still mostly Q-Tip, and production-wise, still Q-Tip.
Right.
So by the time they're coming out with Award Tour, which is the lead single off Midnight Marauders, their third album, the image has kind of already been crafted, okay? And so maybe not quite possibly totally the image Phife wants, but it's like when you're part of 2 classic albums and you're releasing a third, who's going to argue with that? Your kids
kind of ride with it.
Yeah, your kids from Queens. Like, I can remember Phife talking on the first single off their 4th album, Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Once again, 4 albums deep for Quest, but still we paying dues. So he was obviously speaking to some things, even one album after that, which wasn't as good as this one, because this was their last classic piece of work. And their last, Yeah, this is their last piece of work, in my opinion. Maybe not their last classic song, but Midnight Marauders and Award Tour, Electric Relaxation, that's their last, you know,
Hmm.
seminal piece of work. So
Wow, cool. Okay. So that gives me a lot more context for both them and the song. I didn't know that it was one of their later songs. Like it came after all of the ones that I was more familiar with.
I mean, I wouldn't say later. I mean, when you look at their career, I mean, technically they've done 6 albums together.
So halfway then.
But one of those was the one that just recently got released a few years ago, like the last couple of
Yeah.
years. So really, if you look at their like career actively, it was
Mhm.
5 albums, and then the group broke up after the Love Movement. And I think the Love Movement came out the same day Clem and I did. So that was our senior year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, Love Movement came out the same day. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who Andre's talking about on Rosa Parks. Andrew,
okay.
he's talking about Tribe. You know, when he's talking about went on, but I went on out and bought it because I thought it would be jamming, but they clamming off. Like he's talking about Tribe when he's talking about his favorite group falling off.
That's
When the record get to skipping and slowing down, yeah, he's talking about Tribe.
uh, we should kick off the next season with Rosa Parks then, because that would be a good segue.